Okay, Alex, here we are. We're ready for episode 26. We got our lighting set up,
Half of a year.
I think. Yeah, it is. I was thinking just last week, I was like, oh, we're about 6 months, but we're at 6 months now. At least half a year of podcast. We were at 6 months last week. We missed one podcast. This will be us recording half a year's worth of weekly podcasts. Excellent. We're blowing up.
Keep on trucking.
We're close to going exponential. We're getting bigger and bigger every week. That's not true. We didn't get any new subscribers this week. I don't think. We got one new subscriber last week. So that is one subscriber for the last 2 weeks. That's half a subscriber a week. I'm aiming for 2 a week, which is a very modest goal. But it's not always steady. So maybe one day we'll have like 4 subscribers. It'll be the best day of my life. Podcasting. We don't have any huge topics today, but I know we have a lot of little things we wanted to discuss. Some of which are follows up. Geez Louise. This is how I started off. This is how I started off last episode too. Follow ups to last week. One of which is related to the art on this card, Invigorate. I know that the listeners were wondering, along with us, what to make of this art. We didn't quite know. I purchased 4 copies of Invigorate, not to brag, about 25 cents a piece. And when I stared at the cardboard right in front of my face, it was clear immediately what was happening, who was being invigorated. It's this little elf druid thing that is invigorated. And since she's been invigorated.
Oh, now she's lifting the monster up.
She's lifting the monster. And I think this monster is called a Wumpus.
Yeah, that's the Wumpus. We saw them in a different card. Yeah, I think it was the Wumpus, but we saw whatever it is. We saw it.
Yeah. So it's
yes,
very clear.
You're right. It's so obvious now. She's lifting the Wumpus.
She has been invigorated. She's lifting the Wumpus. He's confused as to how this tiny little creature is
much stronger than she was previously, to the Wumpus's consternation.
So if anybody was watching last week and screaming at us, being like, "It's clear," we know.
Well, we caught up.
Other thing we talked about, we were looking for tree folk, and I was like, I think there's a tree folk that makes saprolines or a tree folk that makes some kind of tokens. I found it afterwards. It sounded like you found it too.
Yeah.
This tree folk is Namada, if that's how you pronounce it. Namada Grove Guardian.
I like it.
It's from Plane Shift, 4 colorless, 2 green, 4/5. Play 2 colorless, 1 green, put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into play. You can sacrifice the sapling. All saplings get +1/+1 until end of turn. So, it's mana intensive. Mm-hmm. But if you're playing green in a long multiplayer commander environment, you could play this. I like the fact that you don't have to tap it to make a 1/1 green sapling. Yeah. You can just pump out a whole bunch at a time.
Blocker, him, her.
If you have something like a Gaia's Cradle, who knows how many 1/1 tokens you can pump out every turn,
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, the first ability is okay. If you have a turn where you have nothing to spend your mana on, you can do that. But I think the second ability is, what makes the card cooler.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because you can get saplings from other places more cheaply than this. And then you can use this ability plus the fact that it's a 4/5. It's not bad.
To pump them all.
Is it a dude?
It looks like
it's hard for me to see.
It looks like a tree folk cephalid almost, but I know it's not. It's just a tree folk of some sort. But he looks cephalid-like because he has all these wiry.
Yeah, I love the art on this. How he or it or she is misty and kind of hidden and tall, way back there. It looks like very tall.
Well, I was going to point out the artist John Avon. He does some of the best land art ever.
Oh,
in Magic, he did the Mirage Mountain that I really like, and probably a whole bunch of other lands that I really like that I don't even know that he illustrated. I just know that people love to collect his lands, and the ones that I have that he did, I also really like. That's really what makes this this is a great landscape with a giant tree folk in the distance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Tree Folk legend that we could not remember the name of last week.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because like as the Grove Guardian, you have this. Yeah, like you said, it's like the card's framed so that you're seeing like this grove, and then like the Guardians in the center of it, kind of. The big sword, maybe? Or
I don't know. Maybe it's a giant tree that he swings around. It's a wooden stick of some sort. Yeah.
Or sword, I think. Spear?
It's not a sword. I don't think it's a sword.
Why not? Could be.
I don't know. A tree folk, would you expect a tree folk to have a sword? They would just have
probably
a
not.
Wooden.
Yeah. A wooden sword.
Yeah. Something to bludgeon with, not slice.
A shillelagh.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to make a sapling deck. I'm not going to make a sapling deck, but like at some point I'm going to make a sapling deck.
This was like $12.
Going through the green cards, all the green cards for Commander in like the Plane Shift, Mercadian Mask, Nemesis, Invasion Era. There's so much cool sapling stuff out there.
Oh, is there? That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like there is.
I think, the ideas of Fallen Empires were not bad ideas. You know what I mean? They just were underpowered at the time when they made them, and there weren't a lot of options, and like the set overall sucked. But like,
it was the power
I didn't
level.
hate the idea of, saprolings and thralls and these sort of tribal, like, synergy cards. Plus the artwork was sort of interesting, it was, I don't know how I want to describe Fallen Empire's artwork, but it was interesting.
I don't know. In my mind, it's just kind of all over the place. I can't even think of like a coherent theme for the Fallen Empire's art, but it's been a very long time since I've sat down and looked at the whole set.
Yeah. But when I think of like the green cards, I think of all those sort of like fungal and saproling cards that are very sort of alien and weird and also dark. I don't think any other set has like, if you look at green in another set, it doesn't look like Fallen Empires.
Fair enough. It does. Like I said, I can't think of like a coherent theme for the whole set, but it does seem dark for me. There's a darkness to the green cards that you don't see outside of maybe the dark, for instance.
Yeah, I felt like it carried on visuals from like the dark a little bit. There's some characters in there who are kind of like have that sort of like New England pilgrimy thing again going on.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
Witch hunter-y sort of stuff. Looking up a few Fallen Empires cards now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to this card in 2018. Why all of a sudden it literally 10x'd in 6 months from like $1.50 to almost $12. I don't know. Then it's been about $5 for several years afterwards. So who knows? That's one follow-up. Another follow-up. This is just a day of follow-ups, Alex. The Utabi orangutan art. You pointed at the monkeys in the back, and you were like, and I said, people talk about that. They talk about the monkeys in the background having sex. And I was like, I think there was even a card in a set that referenced that. And I was kind of right. It was in a joke set. It was in one of those unhinged sets or whatever they're called. Yeah, they are called unhinged. Utabi Kong.
Oh, okay. So there's another, okay.
In the back, there's the pregnant.
Okay. Yeah, that one makes more sense than the first one you found.
Yes. I don't remember the first one I found. Oh, the first one I found was just like updated art for Utabi Orangutan.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking of there.
Ah, interesting. Continuity.
Yeah. They're still good at jokes, aren't they?
Yeah.
This card's spiking in price for some reason.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Looks like we stumbled on something here, Steve.
I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to sort unhinged by price.
Okay.
Okay, the most expensive one is something with the word Mox in it. Oh, Mox and Lotus. Okay.
Mox Lotus. Sounds about right.
Mox Lotus.
Look at number two. Look at number two.
I don't even want to look at it. I'm not going to uncover it, Alex. This is a children's show. I never heard anybody refer to this land this way, but I hear people say that this is how it was referred to. I guess even when I was 12 years old, I wasn't this immature. City of Ass instead of City of Brass. I mean, I did hear it a little bit, but I don't remember any of us calling it that. And it was because people didn't like this card.
Yeah, I guess there were. I read someone making a comment about this card and like not understanding how good it was.
Yeah.
And like, I guess people just didn't I don't know. We caught on fairly quickly to it, I think. I'm not sure if it's just because someone told us it was good or we saw it in a magazine or something. But
yeah, we did not like taking damage from things. None of us played Necropotence, but we would use City of Brass for mana fixing.
Yeah, I agree. Most of us wouldn't take too much damage from things, but City of Brass, Jazam Jin were kind of no-brainers to us.
I don't have anything from Chronicles except City of Brass and Jazam Jin. Like, those are the cards that I kept from Chronicles. Those are the cards
not Jazam Jin. He's not in there.
No, sorry. Urnam Jin. I'm screwing everything up.
Yeah.
That doesn't take
I wish I had some Urnam Jins from Chronicles. I don't know why I don't. I have a City of Brass.
They're cheap still.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
I wonder if there are any other black borders of Urnam Jin. No, there's some.
Judgment 31 cents. I actually thought about picking up 2 of these. I'm like, hey, why not? I kind of like this art. Not bad at all.
Looks like the Hulk.
Yeah. A hulky Jin. But what is the Chronicles one? The Chronicles one is cheap too, I think.
Oh, okay.
42 cents, yeah.
For some reason I had it in my mind that had become a couple dollars or something.
Yeah, look at me screwing things up, Jazam Jin. Urnam Jin doesn't take damage from it. There's downsides, of course, because they're Jins. That's what they do. But yeah. I'm screwing up my Jins, Alex. So that's the Utabi follow-up. You have a Tolkien calendar follow-up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I mentioned I have my Tolkien calendar up on the wall here. It's February, so Bilbo talking to Gollum. But I thought about what I was talking. I brought it. Huh? Sorry?
So we're burning through the follow-ups.
Burning through the follow-ups. It came up because of Scavenger Folk, I think. And the art on Scavenger Folk is sort of weird. The guy has like shadowy sunken eyes and kind of like bulbous features, and he looks sort of like wonky.
He looks mad. He looks like Gollum.
Kinda, yeah. He looks, yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look like Gollum, but he looks like somebody who's been demented.
Yeah, mad like crazy. Yeah.
And
especially his fingers. Okay, pay attention to how the person drew his fingers.
Oh, look.
What?
There's a ring.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah, okay.
I never noticed that before.
I'm sure I knew this and forgot.
I thought it kind of blends into his robe. I thought that was just part of his robe.
I knew he had a hand, so he stole somebody's hand. But I didn't realize that he or she, I don't know what this folk is.
I see.
Took the ring from
I always thought that was his hand, and he was just like, eh.
Oh, no, I did for a long time, too. I don't know when I learned that was actually a hand that he probably dug out of.
Interesting. Okay, so he's scavenging, pulling the ring off of this dead battlefield body or whatever. Interesting.
It's even more connected to the Tolkien art than we realized. The ring.
Look at that guy's funky hands. Do you see that?
I do.
This is an old copy of Grimm's Fairy Tales from 1979 that I had as a kid. And as I was thinking about it, I realized that the Scavenger Folk, I think, reminded me more of this than that Tolkien calendar.
Okay.
So I was kind of wrong. But this is full of all sorts of weird artwork. And the person draws all of these characters in a similar way with these kind of like misshapen, kind of like arthritic, weird hands and like bulbous noses and stuff like that. And there a lot of the
is Denise Detweiler.
Say what?
The artist is Denise Detweiler.
The artist? No. That was what we had to get to the bottom of, part of it. The artist was Ludek Manasek.
Oh, okay.
It appears that this was printed in Czechoslovakia, translated by Vladimir Verecha. But yeah, it has a lot of art that I feel is sort of like that Scavenger Folk, like weird kind of characters. Yeah, it's pretty creepy as a kid. I don't remember it like terrifying me, but I read it and I thought that a lot of the art was just weird. Plus, these fairy tales are like oftentimes extremely violent and bizarre.
Yeah.
See all those dangling feet? Isn't that weird?
That is pretty creepy. I mean, there's people hanging from the tree above them, right?
Yeah. Anyways, that was my art follow-up about Scavenger Folk.
I can't believe I must have known I've looked at Scavenger Folk, I don't know how many times in my life. And I had Scavenger Folk back in the day. I played with them. Since we started collecting cards again, I bought original Dark Scavenger Folks. I have them. I've put them in decks. I've been talking about and thinking about them a lot because of the Dreadnought deck, and I'm playing a lot of green. And it's like I wasn't even paying attention to this ring.
I always thought it was his robe. I thought it was like his robe with shadow in it.
Yeah. I don't know what I thought it was, but I just wasn't paying attention. I know I knew this and then forgot it, and then I'm learning things again.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mushy old minds.
I was just looking up, I just Googled Denise Detweiler because I was like, I wonder what other art she did. Squire.
Oh, okay.
The Dark.
I know that card. Yeah. And now that you say it, it looks like Scavenger Folk a little bit.
Yes, the person looks very similar.
Very shadowy.
You can't quite tell what these. I mean, it looks like a human, but also it looks like some sort of humanoid, not quite human. She's also done art for a lot of goblin cards too. Like her figures are almost mixes between humans and goblins in some way.
Okay.
Scavenger Folk, Squire. I mean, they don't look like normally proportioned.
Yeah, they look kind of weird. I always thought this card was weird because you would expect a Squire to usually be like a boy, like a young, like a teenager, or someone who's learning to become a knight. And this Squire looks like he's like 55. He's
boyish size, but he's been beaten down by the world. He's heavily wrinkled.
He just never got out of Squiredom.
Yeah.
I was going to mention this eventually at some point too, because it has a Canterbury Tales quote on it. It can go in our real life quote segment.
Oh, okay. We need to do that. That's a glimpse into a future episode.
Yeah.
She also did Tividar's
Crusade. No fooling. Okay.
Wild art that I love. Goblins.
I always like this art.
Freakish looking human beings with terrifying haircuts. Highly religious people with this haircut scare the shit out of me.
Oh yeah. That sort of weird, like, I don't know what you want to call it, if it's like Scandinavian or something.
I don't know. I immediately see that and I know I can't trust that person.
That card looks a little bit like some of those like old communist posters, like propaganda posters where the people are very shaded and like, you know what I mean?
I do. Pikemen, Alex, also oddly proportioned. They look like tiny humans.
Yeah, they look a little short. What's the casting cost on it? It's only 2. That's not too bad. It's not a bad card there.
No, it's not. If you want to make an old school banding deck.
Banding for strike,
Not bad.
It's not bad.
Kids these days don't respect it, but it's not bad. She also did Merfolk Assassin.
Okay.
Which is good art. And then she did Goblin Rocksled and Flood, also from the Dark.
Okay.
But yeah.
Neat.
She definitely has a style. It looks like I don't see anything from her since the Dark. So like she might have only been involved with Magic for that one set. Maybe. Yeah. Artwork appearing a total of 1 sets. That would be the Dark. 7 cards. Anyway, shout out to Denise Detweiler.
Yeah. Thanks for the art.
And then you had one more follow-up to last episode. You wrote down Collective Unconscious versus Stroke of Genius, Whispers of the Muse. There was something you wanted to say about Collective Unconscious. And just to remind people who listened last week, or to fill people in who didn't listen last week, Collective Unconscious is a card we talked about when I was going through a segment on how to generate card advantage in green. There's not a lot of straight up card draw in green. This was one card that actually does that. It's a rare from Acadian Mass, 4 colorless, 2 green, sorcery. Draw a card for each creature you control. This is something I'm definitely going to give a try. Don't know if I'm going to like it all that much.
I would try this too. The more I look at it, the more I'm kind of like, it's expensive, but I mean, it's just straight card draw.
Yeah.
And it could easily be, draw 5.
It could be. I was also thinking to myself, if I'm making a commander deck where I'm generating a lot of tiny little green creatures, like, could I get myself into a situation where I cast this and I have to draw like 12 and then I have to dump
yeah,
a bunch of cards?
Not even be able to cast it. You have to
Yeah.
like send out a suicide wave of saprolings to
Oh,
lower
yeah.
your numbers.
I can sacrifice my saprolings to the tree folk
Yeah, there you go.
legend. There we go.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, actually. Well, anyways, yeah, I brought this up because I was looking in like the first paragraph of that article.
Mhm.
Sorry. He said, let's see,
The article was The Blossoming of Green Carded
Oh.
Advantage, right? It was an
Yeah.
old article from Star City Games, a writer
2000.
from Star City Games. Yeah.
Card advantage cards tend to become power cards in Magic. Just look at some of them, and then there's a list of about 10 cards that he thinks are considered power or very strong card draw cards that he sort of used to set the framework before we went into the green cards.
Mhm.
And he mentions Ancestral Recall, Wheel of Fortune, Time Twister, Necro, Wrath of God, then Yawgmoth's Bargain, Balance, and then the two that I wasn't familiar with, which are Stroke of Genius and Whispers of the Muse.
I don't really know them either. I think I've seen Stroke of Genius before, but I can't tell you what it does. And I don't know that I've ever heard of Whispers of the Muse.
But yeah, pull them up. And
Stroke of Genius is a blue card. Will not be going in my commander deck. It is a
No.
rare from Urza's Saga. It's about $5 to pick up right now. It looks like it's been about $5 to $2.50 for a long time.
Mhm.
2 colorless, 1 blue, X. Target player draws X cards. So very straightforward. It is a Brain Geyser that costs
Yeah,
1 more mana, but
it's a
2
different-
colorless instead of 2 blue.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Brain
don't
Geyser's
look at
also
Brain
an
Geyser now,
instant
just
too,
so we
right?
don't sound
Yeah.
dumb.
No, I'm pretty sure Brain Geyser's 2 blue, X, instant, draw X
I
cards.
think it is blue. Yes, it's blue X. Okay. So yeah, odd for starters that he didn't mention Brain Geyser in that list, but he mentioned this. I don't know if that's more just because this card was like really important in the format at the time, like when Urza's block was out.
That's
That
what I
might
was
be it.
wondering. If he was focusing on specific cards that were
Yeah. But the other ones he does mention Ancestral Recall, Wheel of Fortune, Time Twister. He mentions some old cards in there, and
That's
Balance, which is not. I mean, maybe back then Balance was legal in more formats. It probably was. But my first thought was looking at this. I compared it to I forgot what it's called already. Our card, the green card,
Collective Unconscious.
Collective. Okay, I kept trying to say Collective Restraint. Collective Unconscious. Okay. Now I know some people are probably gonna like scream because like I'm comparing a blue card to a green card here.
I'm already getting mad about that. The segment was clearly about green card advantage.
Yes,
Alex.
yes, I know. But my point was just that he mentions this as a particularly strong card at that time for card draw, and I like Collective Unconscious better, I think, for the mana.
Oh,
Because like,
yeah, that's 4 mana.
what are you going to do with this? You're not going to use it to draw 1 card probably for 4 mana.
If you want to draw 4 cards with this, you have to pay at least 7 mana. Right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can handle that. 7 mana to draw 4 cards. Collective Unconscious is 6 mana. You're probably going to have at least, if you have a good green deck, you should have at least 4 creatures.
Yeah. Or yeah, if you want to draw 2 cards with this, you're paying 5 to draw 2.
Yeah.
1 more with Collective Unconscious, and you're drawing as many as you have creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this can also target another player and make them draw cards, which is good.
Yes.
And like I said, it fits into blue, which is important because blue has a lot of other stuff going on in this regard. So, draw your own conclusions. But I thought that was kind of a point in favor of Collective Unconscious.
There you go.
And then the same thing, I pretty much had the same thing to say about Whispers of the Muse, I think.
Good on you, green. I don't know Whispers of the Muse, so I'm going to pull it up.
Good on you, green.
Tempest. I like the art. Quentin Hoover. Classic.
Now, this
1
card's a little
blue.
bit different. It's not a straight up, like, draw a bunch of cards as much. So it's
Okay.
even more different. So
1 blue instant. Buyback 5. Which just means when you play the spell, you can pay an extra 5, and you get to put it in your hand instead of the graveyard. Draw a card. So it's a cantrip that you can put back in your hand, essentially as many times as you want.
Yeah. It's a
Very
1 blue
expensive.
draw card, but you can recycle it infinitely if you have 5 to spend.
Yeah.
So definitely a different kind of card. This would fit into a, some sort of specific strategy, I guess, where it works. I don't think thought I'd bring this up maybe because I thought it was neat and I didn't know about this card.
I don't think I get a lot of use out of this guy. I feel like I'd put him in my decks and like never actually draw more than 1 card with it.
I wonder how people use it, if they usually pay the buyback or if they use it just as a draw 1 card.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to put it in a deck, it would be a deck that I didn't really even want 60 cards in. I would like put this in a 56 card deck and then just use these to like get to one of the 56 cards that I wanted more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just to take up a spot that you could then just cast to draw another card. I don't even know. And I never find myself in those situations too. Either.
Yeah. So, yeah, admittedly, I don't understand this card too well. It's a rating of 3.7 on Gatherer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand this card too well just because I haven't looked at it, spent much time with it, but it doesn't overwhelm me at first. And, I like Collective. It's making me like Collective Unconscious more when I saw these 2 cards in that list of power draw cards.
Alex, you poo-pooed Collective Unconscious.
Did I? I don't think I poo-pooed it. I think I was just like middling on it. I was
you poo-pooed it.
I did no.
That's how I remember. Go back, listen to the episode.
I will have to go back. I'm sorry. If I did, I'm sorry. I thought I was kind of like wishy-washy on it.
Yeah. Right. Proper. Yeah. That's poo-pooing. Poo-pooing's not too strong. I didn't say shit on.
Yeah.
I said poo-pooed.
I think maybe I didn't like it immediately.
More gentle.
And then it started to grow on me,
I remember seeing this card back in the day in decks that specialize in counter spells. It allowed the control player to sink their open mana into something at the end of their opponent's turn if they didn't counter anything that turn. These days, however, there are far more powerful ways of drawing cards on opponent's turn.
Like that argument is just there's a lot of stuff you could sink your extra mana into.
Yeah. Also, why do you have to sink your mana into something at the end of your opponent's turn?
This person says, really good and dumb in EDH. Infinite card draw with infinite mana combos like 2 times Mirror Galvanizer or Alloy Mirror. Okay,
yeah. I can see all sorts of crazy things that generate tons of mana these days that we just don't know about that could just keep this feeding your hand every turn. So there's probably some stuff like that. Like whatever 2 times Mirror Galvanizer plus 2x Alloy Mirror is.
I'm looking at it. They're not really sure why they're related. Okay, Alloy Mirror taps to add. He's a 3 colorless 2/2 artifact creature, and he taps to add a mana of any color.
So basically, this person is just saying if you have like mana rocks or mana, you could use it to play Whispers of the Muse. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what their point is. The other card, Mirror Galvanizer, is 3 colorless 2/2 creature. Other mirror creatures you control get +1/+1. Spend 1 and tap him to untap each other mirror you control. Okay, so you use those 2 mirrors together to like untap. Use the one to untap the other one for mana.
Okay. Okay. Alloy Mirror is also an artifact creature. I just thought it was a mana rock. Yeah. I just saw tap to add 1 mana color.
Yeah. So these 2 things tap to get you a bunch of extra mana. He's just using that, I guess, as an example of a mana combo. Okay. Yeah,
there's probably lots of things like that in EDH that we just don't know about.
Also, anyway, I don't know. That was weird. He said first he mentioned EDH, but then he said 2 times Mirror Galvanizer and 2 times Outlet. Would you only be able to have one of each?
I was very confused about that too. I just said it wasn't going to bring it up, but yeah.
I think they must have been separate comments because they are on separate. It says really good and dumb in EDH, and then the next line says whatever. Okay. Wildly off topic here.
Well, I mean that's the topic of today's show. We're just gonna ramble about a bunch of unrelated things for the most part.
What we do most of the time. Ramble.
That is the end of the follow-ups to episode 25. Now we're on to all fresh material, Alex. And by fresh material, I mean we're going to talk about cards that were printed 20 years ago. You had something you wanted to say about Limdol's Vault.
Yeah.
In Diabolic Vision, which I was like, I don't remember Diabolic Vision, but it's a black card with like a creepy thing on a creepy like creature on it.
Yeah, he's kind of creepy. He's like a window creeper.
I do remember this. So I'm going to pull up.
I don't want that guy in my window with those big freaky long fingers creeping, looking at me. No way.
I'd call the police.
Hell yeah.
Limdol's Vault. These are two Ice Age cards. I kind of remember what Limdol's Vault does. I kind of feel like Diabolic Vision is something similar. Sorting cards, filtering cards, moving cards
Diabolic
around.
Vision is Ice Age. Limdol's Vault is Alliances.
Okay. Let's start with Limdol's Vault.
Sure. This is the one probably people know more.
This is the one that gets more play. I see it. This shows up in pre-modern in the black-blue versions of the Dreadnought deck. And people go back and forth about... Really, it could be... I just think of the Dreadnought deck as like... The reason Limdol's Vault is in the Dreadnought deck sometimes is the same reason it would be in any black-blue combo deck. So you can just think of the Dreadnought deck as like a general combo deck, because you need the Dreadnought plus the Vision Charm, or the Dreadnought plus the Stifle. It's a way to get yourself to the cards that you need faster.
Yeah, and it's very much like Demonic Consultation in that it's, you're going balls to the wall, going through your deck to get those cards. Like you're burning through them, trying to digging through everything, trying to get those cards.
That makes me nervous. I don't play balls to the wall Magic. Well, I do like aggro creature decks. I play specific styles of balls to the wall Magic, I guess. Mm-hmm. Not the kind where I just go balls to the wall, like
where you build your own deck.
Garbage, but it can be.
I've never tried it. I've never tried wild.
I've never tried it either.
Deck, but maybe it would be okay.
Yeah, I kind of want to put some of those decks together. I'm gonna try to put a Dreadnought deck together maybe next year, just because all the cards are cheap in it except for the Dreadnoughts, and I have 2 Dreadnoughts.
Do you? Oh,
so just maybe over the next 12 months or something, I'll pick up two more Dreadnoughts. Also, I don't have to buy them. I could just pretend like I have 4 Dreadnoughts and we just proxy it.
That's fine.
Everything else is cheap.
Then I'll get some good practice playing against Stifle Knot decks.
Yeah. And then you can play it. I'm putting together a few decks, and I'll
play my anti-artifact decks.
You play the green deck that I told you about the other day. That's just designed specifically to kill Dreadnoughts. 4 crumbles, 4 scavenger folk, 4 naturalizes, and then you just kill me with 1/1s. You just kill the Dreadnoughts, kill me with 1/1s. Okay. Limdol's Vault. Uncommon 2 from Alliances, 1 blue, 1 black, instant. Here's another this is the real reason I've never played these cards. This card. I don't play cards with this much text on. Immediately.
See, I like cards with a lot of text like that because they usually have a very interesting and unique effect.
I'm very simple.
Like Helm of Obedience or Grinning Totem.
I'm not reading all this stuff. Oh, so okay, that's not entirely true because I have played Grinning Totem and Helm of Obedience. Those are fun. Instant. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. As many times as you choose, you may pay 1 life to put those cards on the bottom of your library and look at the top 5 cards of your library. So you basically scroll through your library 5 cards at a time, giving away 1 life as often as you want to take the top 5 cards, put them to the bottom. Shuffle all but the top 5 cards of your library. Put those 5 on top of your library in any order. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. So you get to go through your deck 5 cards at a time, figure out which of those 5 card slices you want on the top of your deck, and you get to order them.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Very clear. Diabolic
I always kind of
Vision.
like this card. I think back
The vault or the Vision or both?
The Vault, Limdol's Vault, because I had 1 or 2. Meanwhile, I've bought 1 or 2 of these because I think it's kind of cool. Very similar.
Diabolic Vision, same casting cost. It's a sorcery instead of an instant.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the top 5 cards of your library and put 1 of them into your hand. Put the remaining 4 on top of your library in any order. So you don't get to dig as deep.
Right. It's not balls to the wall.
It's not balls to.
But you draw a card when you cast it.
Yeah.
Lim-Dûl's Vault is strictly preparatory for like next turn and the turns after. This card still shuffles your top 5 how you want them, but you draw one of them right off the bat.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I'm not saying I think it's necessarily better than Lim-Dûl's Vault, because I know why people use Lim-Dûl's Vault, but I do kind of like this. That's all.
It's not bad. This is why I want to play a Dreadnought deck, actually. I want to have some experience running cards like this. Things like this, Lim-Dûl's Vault. What are the other cards? Impulse. Is Portent also a card?
Yeah, you could talk about Portent, yeah.
Yeah. I've never tried to really fill a deck with these cards and try to take advantage of them to get me what I needed as fast as I needed it, to see how powerful it was.
I've used Impulse a little, and I have that is like sort of at the top of some of those lists in my mind as like one of the cards I would go to for that.
I know they're obviously very powerful effects because some people have great experience with them and they build killer decks around them. But like, I don't know how to play these cards. But I want to start working on it. And I think I just have to run each of them in the deck many, many times to get an idea of which one I like the best, because it's hard for me to figure out when I see a list of cards with this effect or similar effects, which ones to choose. I don't always know how people make the choice. I think if your whole strategy really depended on like 2 cards, straight up combo, I would want the Vault.
Yeah.
If you had more of like a deck that was more variable in its strategy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like this would go in a.
I would go with
this
the
is a little more
vision.
generalized. You know, you're getting the card. It's just kind of helping you. You know.
And I was going to say, even with the Vault, you need 2 cards. There's no chance. I mean, you know, the odds aren't that high that the 2 cards you need are going to be in any 1 5-card slice. But I guess you don't play the Vault when you need the 2 cards. You play the Vault when you have one of them in your hand and you just need to hit the other.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So I think we're in agreement then. Maybe play the Vault straight up combo decks. Play the Vision in a deck that's not necessarily a straight up combo deck. Just a deck where you might want to get some kind of card sorting, card advantage, card draw ability.
Yeah, that's how at least I'm approaching it to begin with. Yeah, until I play with them a little more and try them out. But yeah, I don't hate this card. I would try playing with it. Is all I'm saying. Yeah,
it's a cantrip that lets you dig deeper. It's a 1-turn Sylvan Library, but better than the Sylvan Library on its first turn because you get to go 5 cards deep instead of just 3 cards deep.
Yeah.
And you can say the Sylvan Library you have in play as a permanent, so you get to use it every turn. But the real benefit from the Sylvan Library comes from turn 1, where you get to dig 2 deep.
Right. After that, the benefit. Yeah.
Now you can pay the 4 land. So if you're playing in like a deck that gives you lots of, you can pay the 4 life. So if you're playing it in a deck that, you know, helps you gain life, then you can just pitch the life and you can draw extra cards. But most of the time I see people
always forget about that.
Sylvan Library, I don't see them use it that way. And when I've played it, I tend not to use it that way.
Yeah, I don't even think about that.
It's mostly just.
But you're right. It could be good.
A 1-turn advantage
in a life gain deck, or now in Commander with 40 life.
Yeah.
So the other interesting thing about Diabolic Vision. 2 things for starters. I was wondering, shouldn't it be Diabolical Vision? I was like, what? So I looked that up. They list Diabolic as an alternate, like a viable alternative for Diabolical. And I believe it's American in its roots. So American subversion or alternate version of Diabolical is Diabolic. I like Diabolical more personally. I think it's better to say Diabolical.
That sounds more diabolical.
Yeah. So Diabolical Vision. The The other thing that was interesting about this is someone mentioned in the comments, I want you to also pull up the card Ghostly Flame, and we're going to compare their flavor texts.
Jeez. Oh, jeez. I got to do a flavor text comparison.
First we can read the flavor text on this one, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's not like you're like scratching your head.
This is a quote from Limdol. He is a necromancer. Limdol said, "I have seen the true path. I will not warm myself by the fire. I will become the flame."
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, cold, icy, creepy guy staring through the window. Not sure what that has to do with it.
Talking a big game.
Talking a big game.
What's the other card?
Ghostly Flame. This is from the same set, Ice Age. It's a 1 black, 1 red card.
I don't remember this one at all. There's a lot of Ice Age cards that I remember this art. Yes. It's a rare from Ice Age with a weird fire dude.
Weird fire dude.
Is it Limdol? 1 black, 1 red. Walk slowly when in the netherworld and seek that which calls.
Yeah.
Limdol the Necromancer.
Now, read that quote with Diabolic Vision's picture.
Do you think they screwed up the...
That's what someone says. This guy says, I really, really think that this card and Ghostly Flame got their flavor text switched by mistake.
The
other card is clearly someone becoming the flame.
Yeah.
I will become the flame.
Well, the first thing I said when I saw the art, I said, is that Limdol? Because I figured he had become the flame. Yeah. Walk slowly when in the netherworld and seek that which calls. I was going to say, I'm not sure that this is the netherworld, but this might be the netherworld. Now that I look at it, it looked like it was just somebody's house that he was trying to break into. But this could be the nether. He could be walking in.
Or maybe that thing exists in the netherworld.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, like some sort of Stranger Things kind of deal.
That's a possibility. I wonder if there's some kind of like lore behind that. If it has ever been revealed, whether or not they screwed up the flavor text.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they do stuff like that.
Yeah, mistakes happen, especially back then. Mistakes, happened with this sort of thing. So when I read that, it seems pretty. This is a strong case, I would say.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I'm gonna do something else real quick right now. I'm typing in Anthony Waters into Scryfall.
I wonder if he draws other big, long-fingered, long-armed monster guys.
I don't use Scryfall enough. I've started using it more this past week.
Yeah, I don't either. I should.
It's great for searching for all sorts of things. Shout out to Scryfall, the people who work at Scryfall. So he's
a lot of new cards.
115 cards on art on cards from sets I don't even recognize. I don't even have no idea what that is.
Some unusual, very alien-looking art on some of these. I like the Canopy Crawler there.
Did we talk about Canopy Crawler ever before?
I think so.
What is this thing?
I don't know. It's cool. It looks very tall. Crawling through the canopies.
Yeah.
Big walker thing.
Let me look at some of his old stuff. Okay, I've seen Circular Logic before. No, nothing's quite like the Diabolic Vision art. Okay, maybe he had a particular style for Ice Age that he mixed up later on. Elephant Ambush.
Ooh, elephant card.
3/3 green elephant creature.
I think I saw this before.
Elemental Augury. I remember this art, but I don't remember the card. This is the case with most. This is an Ice Age card. I don't know what this symbol is. I can't remember. This is like a reprint symbol or something.
I think it's for like online.
Okay, but this is an Ice Age card. The case with most Ice Age cards is I'll see the art and I remember the card, but I don't remember what they do and I don't remember the names. Look at the top 3 cards of target player's library, then put them back in any order. Okay, so you could.
It's actually not horrible.
No, it's an enchantment sorter.
It's not too bad.
It's like. I was gonna say it's like a Sylvan library for yourself, but no, you have to pay 3 mana if you wanted to use it as it's like a Sylvan library for yourself every turn. But you can use it to alter the order of your
against my
opponent's cards.
Yeah. But I guess you could just put like 4 Ponders in instead.
He did Gorilla Shaman.
Or is it Pond? Did I say the wrong thing? Portent. Portent.
Ponder's also a card, though.
I know, but it's I get it confused with Portent.
He did Life Chisel. Okay.
Oh, Life Chisel
from Legends. This is a very creepy card from Legends.
It's cool though.
I actually
Gildor and Guard. I have some of them.
Oh, yeah, he did that too. His art style is very it varies a lot. Life and Death from Apocalypse. Okay. This is the part of the episode where we look through Anthony Waters' art.
I like looking through art. We can talk about MTG art all day.
Pale Bears. Yeah, his style's all over the place.
That's cool.
Which is not a bad, not that that's a bad thing. It's Soul Exchange. I remember this art.
The Shimmy Inspector is kind of cool looking.
Treetop Village. I love playing this card since I've learned about pre-modern.
I still have to get one of those.
The Treetop Villages?
Yeah.
They're cheap. Get 4.
Yeah, I had it on my list. It's one of those cards that's like, sometimes you can't find it from like a vendor you want or whatever. So now it's like you're looking at paying a couple dollars more than you should be. So I just wait, you know.
It's definitely a card that's not worth overpaying for. You can get them cheap places.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of cards on my list like that are like cards that I'm just like, I don't want to overpay for from some vendor or whatever, and I'm waiting for them to have new listings up.
Limdol's Vault versus Diabolic Vision. I think we both agree when we would play these cards. We could be totally wrong because we both don't play these types of cards that often. But I want to. I want to build decks that run
I would try both
cards with a lot of these effects.
And we have our Secret Lair Limdol Vaults too. Look cool.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to say earlier, I was like, I think I bought Limdol Vaults this year. I did. I picked up the Secret Lair Limdol Vaults. Next thing, Alex. Next topic. Mana Drain. You had something that you wanted to say about Mana Drain, and I wish I had kept my Legends Mana Drain.
Oh. I wish I had ever had any. This was a card that I super wanted back then.
I used to have 2 when I made my super budget version of the deck that wasn't really the deck because I didn't have any power cards. It was a much less focused version of the classic control deck, the deck, where I had it was less control, more aggro than a typical deck, and I had like multiple win conditions built in. I would essentially kill with either Sarah Angels flying over my moat, or I would just fireball you with a huge fireball fueled by Mana Drain, or I would kill you with a Rack Disrupting Scepter.
I forgot about the Rack. I remember that you had Disrupting Scepters in there, but I didn't know you had Rack.
It was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, well, you know.
But when you don't have the Power 9 or like and you only have 1 copy of the moat and you have no abysses, if you want to run that version, you can't. You have space to throw other things into. So
yeah, we have to change your strategy a little bit, and all of that. So,
but the Mana Drains, I sold the Mana Drains probably at the beginning of grad school. I don't know how much they were going for back then. I probably sold them for like $50 on eBay or something. Friggin' shit.
Friggin'.
Anyways, what did you want to say about this?
This card has always been out of my like grasp price wise. Even back when it wasn't like that much money, it was still, I don't know. I think the farthest back I can remember, this was still like a $30 card or something, wasn't it?
I was gonna say, I think when I bought them, I bought them for between like $20 and $30. Yeah, which was about as much as we would ever pay for a card for the most part.
Yeah, unless it was super special. There were a few things, but they were
You had Moxes. I don't know what you were paying for your Mox when you would buy a Mox. Was it like 100 or like 150 or something?
Like 90 I want to say.
So around the $100 range.
Yeah, I might have paid less for one, but it was like maybe like a little more,
worn,
moderately played or moderately plus played or something. And one of the less desirable Moxes, then maybe it would have been like 70 something or 80, but I think that's about right. But Mana Drain, I always wanted them, and I always kind of hated this card, Steve. The reason is because I think it's too
I
good.
loved it. I loved it.
In my mind, it's for as old as it is, Legends. Coming out, it's kind of like a direct slap in the face to Counterspell. It does, you know what I mean? It's the same exact casting cost, and it gives you a bunch of mana. And I know that it's obviously rarer than Counterspell, but I mean, it was an uncommon in the set, so it's not like it was, like for people opening packs, like a super hard to get card. I always just thought, like, compared to Counterspell, this card should have had some sort of additional cost or disadvantage to get that awesome ability,
Well, it did have one disadvantage it doesn't have any longer, which was the mana burn.
Yes.
Which they've eliminated mana burn, so
Yes.
this card's absolutely crazy right now. There's like no downside to playing
That's
it whenever.
a good point, for sure, yeah.
But I will say, as somebody who played it back in the day, I don't think I ever took mana. I don't think I ever took mana burn from this card, ever.
Yeah, I mean,
because I would play it in a deck where I could channel, the mana into Fireball if I needed to.
You have it in your deck, you have something to use the mana on, probably.
I also ran Jam Day Tomes, so like worst case scenario, I could, funnel 4 mana into drawing a card for myself, God forbid. That was terrible.
You have something like that. Like we just talked about the Grove Guardian, you have permanents down in a deck that uses mana drains that you can sink that mana into, probably.
Yeah, so it wasn't much of a downside, really. Although I don't know why they got rid of mana drain. As somebody who doesn't know anything about why they made that decision, when I heard it, I was like, mana drain, mana burn.
Oh,
somebody who doesn't know anything about why they made that decision, when I heard it, I was like, what would they remove that from the game for? I don't know what's going on in the game.
Do you have a revelation, or
no? I don't. We need to figure that out at some point.
I agree with you completely. I think I obviously don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of hate that change. I feel like it was a core part of the game, and it never really made such a huge difference. I feel like you know what I mean. It wasn't like, I don't know. It just was one more thing that you had to be careful of and think of, which I think added to the strategy and the layers. And maybe they just decided it wasn't fun. I don't know, but I
don't know either.
I like there to be mana burn.
We gotta look that up.
But much of that is to say, and maybe we should look up the other versions and prices of this. How many times has it been reprinted? Let's take a look at that. If you don't
this mind. Is what Scryfall is great for, because I get to look at all the different arts and stuff.
Yeah.
This is why I was like, I need to start using Scryfall more often. You can pull them all up on the same page. I like MTG stocks because I'm always interested in prices and things like that. But if you want to go to the different arts, you can only see one at a time, unless you can sort things in ways that I don't understand.
But no, you're right. This comes up in the nice block, like nice grid of all the art.
Here we go. These are all of the prints. This is all the art shown in Scryfall of the different copies of Mana Drain.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm seeing a bunch, but I'm not necessarily seeing different set symbols on all of these. Like, is this all Brothers War?
This is tough. Some of these, I don't know the set symbols well. So some of these were in Double Masters.
Sorry, Double Masters.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the most recent thing that had it in it.
So it was in Magic Online promos. I guess I can't count this stuff. Double Masters, multiple art variants in Double Masters. That's what it was. And then Commander Legends, 2 art variants in Commander Legends.
Right.
Don't know what Commander Legends is. Iconic Masters. No clue if that was a big print set or not, but it sounds like it would be things that would not be like a big print run, I should say. Big print set. A Judge Gift card, which of course is not going to be a big print run. and then after that it's Legends. And whatever this symbol is. Masters Edition 3. Who the hell knows what that is? But you wanted to look.
I get confused which ones are the online ones, because the online ones are called something Mastersy also, which is weird.
Yeah, it's on the online printing. Screw me up all the time.
Okay, so like Masters Edition 3 would be an online.
It's an online
Then
only
it says
product. Yeah.
Vintage Masters, Iconic Masters, Commander Legends, and Double Masters 22.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good, plus the judge versions of it or whatever, like some kind of promos or judge versions, which would be small.
Banned in Legacy.
So what I want to do is read a quote from my Magic Encyclopedia.
Okay.
Was this 1996? I think this bad boy. She's not new.
Old
96. 96. Now, first thing I want to say, disclaimer: I do not bring up this quote to criticize this person who said it. I understand that things change. They may very well not work at Wizards. Oh, I don't think it even puts their name in it here, so I don't have to out anyone. But you know, they probably don't work at Wizards of the Coast anymore. Things have changed many times. This was probably a well-intentioned quote at the time, but
I'm going to criticize them. Are you going to tell me that they're going to make the claim that Mana Drain is a terrible card of some sort?
No, not that. This is the intro to the Legends section.
Okay.
See that? I don't know. Okay. And they give a little write-up about the set. They mention a few. They do this with each set. They give a few of the most popular, important cards, things like Moat and the Abyss. Famous cards in Magic the Gathering Legends. The first one is Abyss, perhaps the most powerful enchant world in the set. This card's ability to eliminate an opponent's creature each turn fueled the development of creatureless decks.
I love the Abyss.
Next card, Mana Drain. When facing this card, players would throw away cards instead of risking the effects of Mana Drain. The card proved too unbalanced to rotate into the basic set as As one Magic developer noted, the entire R&D team would have to be hit by a bus before we'd reprint Mana Drain.
Oh, no.
Ha.
Maybe they're all dead. Maybe they are all dead.
Maybe they all got hit by a bus.
You don't know that. So before
that was in quotes too. That was in quotes from an anonymous Magic developer. The entire R&D team would have to be hit by a bus before we ever reprint.
First off, Alex, yeah, you don't know what happened. These people could all have been hit by a bus. So that's one important thing to say. We have to start off before you're calling people out.
Right.
You don't know what happened to them.
Are there any bus accidents or condolences?
Second thing I'll say, I forgot what it was that I wanted to say. What was the second thing I wanted to say? Oh, I wanted you to repeat the first part of that, what you read, because I didn't get the first part.
Oh. I will do it again.
It was before it's too unbalanced to make it in the first set.
Mana Drain. When facing this card, I didn't really understand this either, I don't think.
Okay, I didn't understand it. I heard it. But
when facing this card, players would throw away cards instead of risking the effects of Mana Drain.
What does that mean?
Maybe it means like discarding if their hand was full instead of like casting a spell.
Oh, okay, I get it, because they don't want to give their opponent
an opportunity to
generate the mana. Really? I'd still.
It still seems like a bad strategy to me.
Yeah, it does.
Get them to use up their mana drains and then use your spells.
If you're ever playing somebody who's running blue, you're just gonna never play a spell because you're afraid they're gonna mana drain it. So you're just gonna spend how many turns putting cards into the graveyard until they kill you? Makes no sense. I think he's making that up.
Maybe situationally, it might have been a situational thing.
This person is somebody who's prone to exaggeration.
Sounds like yeah. Fair enough.
So.
Oh no, that wasn't a quote from the person. That was different though, because that was like the person who did the write-up wrote that first part.
Oh, okay.
The second part was the quote by the developer.
Okay.
Anyways, I just thought that was funny. I know things change, power level in the game has changed. At some point, that decision obviously became not such a big deal anymore. But I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Also, like you just can't. That's what this is. We could talk about the. Very briefly, the controversies about the reserve list. The fact is, when 30th anniversary edition was printed, however many months ago now, all the opinion pieces that came out, all of the YouTube videos people made discussing what they think will or will not happen. The fact is, nobody knows. Like if the game continues, Who knows what the power levels will be like in 20 more years from now? There will be different people.
None of this is written in stone. Yeah.
There will be different people running the company 20 years from now. There will be different players 20 years from now. Like, nobody really knows what's going to happen when it comes to reprints, things being reprinted or not reprinted. And that goes to show. I don't know how many. That quote goes to show that fact, you'll never reprint Mana Drain. I don't know how many quotes I saw similar to that quote, at least in spirit, after the 30th anniversary edition was printed. People from Wizards of the Coast, some of who are still in powerful positions at Wizards of the Coast, saying, we would never do something like they just did with the 30th anniversary edition. They might say that, but 15 years later, either their mind changed or the mind of the people who's signing their paychecks now changed. You have no idea what's going to happen to all this stuff.
For sure.
What I do want to do, I want to see what the prices are. I want to do this. I want to look at the prices of the cheap versions of Mana Drain.
Yeah.
Okay.
$40 is not bad.
$40, $50. I
don't like that. That one sucks. I
hate this one. Yeah. So unfortunately,
I don't mind the borderless one. There's the one that has no border, and that one's okay.
Yes. This one, reasonable.
Yeah.
It's still, I don't think I want to spend $40.
Rather just have the Legends one.
I know, it's just like $300 though. But
yeah.
Let's say you could maybe get if we went the eBay route, where things are usually cheaper than they are on TCG Player, at least for a lot of cards. This isn't true for all cards, but a lot of cards, especially the more expensive ones, I see this. You can usually get them cheaper than what TCG Player or MTG stocks will tell you they're going for at the moment. I'd say maybe like 10 to 20% discount, depending on the card. Mostly 10, probably. I don't know. I haven't looked that much, but I see.
I would have between 10 to 15 probably or something. Yeah.
Discount. You can also get one that's a little beat up.
Excuse me.
Instead of near mint. These MTG stock prices, when I look at the market price and then go to TCG Player, this usually seems to reflect the current price of cards that are near mint and selling at the moment. So maybe you can get a Legends one closer to $200 instead of $300. That's still an awful lot of money.
Still a lot for a card you're going to want 4 of in your deck too.
I know. You just got to be like, I'm going to make it a commander card for a commander deck.
Yeah.
So you have to put one in. If I wanted to play Vintage or something, it would be. I never ran them as a 4-of, and actually, I never wanted to run them as a 4-of.
That's fair too. Yeah, you could do 2, and yeah.
I had 2 that was good for me. I feel like every time I really wanted one and ever really had something useful to do with all that mana that I got from mana draining a spell, like two was right. I feel like I would have, if I had 2 in my deck, I would have a counter spell when I wanted a counter spell. I would have a mana drain when I wanted a mana drain for the most part.
Okay. I see that.
Anywho,
there's
our mana drain segment, Alex. Bring back mana burn.
I thought that was an interesting quote about whether or not Mana Drain will ever be reprinted.
But the other stuff I wanted to talk about was some current news. So when new sets come out, I always take a look at them. I'm not buying new cards right now, at least cards that are brand new to Magic, but I have been picking up some new printings of older cards. What I like to search the new sets for are reprints of cards that were originally printed in pre-modern legal sets. So maybe like a cool updated art variant of a pre-modern card that I might want to play. And I did that for Phyrexia All Will Be One. There's not a whole lot. We talked about Phyrexian Arena last episode very briefly, how that's a reprint, and Phyrexia All Will Be One.
Okay.
There are a few others that are a part of the MTG30 pre-release promo set that they talked about, I think, when MTG30 was first released. They have like a series of promos, maybe 30 of them. I think, it is 30 of them. It's one for each year of Magic. And they're releasing them in groups as new sets come out. So they were like 4 or 5, maybe 3 to 5 of them. I think maybe 4. They were released with Brothers War.
Was that the first set they did it with?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's like a Sarah Angel pre-release promo, and I can't remember what else.
I've seen people talk about some of these promos, but I didn't know that this was the deal with them. That's interesting. Okay.
I think it was a Wall of Roots.
Okay.
And they're doing this with Phyrexia. All will be one. All will be one. I said it right. I just mumbled it.
Yeah.
And I want to take a quick look at these.
Cool.
Yeah. So give me a second. Okay, Alex, we're back. I pulled up the cards that are part of this MTG30 pre-release promo. And the first one is Core Haven. I don't know if you're familiar with Core Haven.
I am familiar with this.
Okay. I like this card a lot. I picked up one Core Haven. They're reprinting it. It's part of the Magic 30 pre-release promos that will be found in Phyrexia All Will Be One. I don't know if they're going to be found in like any particular booster or if you had to go to like a pre-release promo party or something. I've been seeing people tweet about like Phyrexia pre-releases.
Yeah.
What's happening this weekend?
That sounds to me like it's probably that, or at the very least, it's some sort of like box topper scenario where like if you get like a whole box or a whole whatever case or something, then it's in there. But
that will probably be the case.
Pre-release sounds like it might be. I don't know. Sorry.
But Core Haven, I kind of like the old art better than new art.
I like the old art better too.
Yeah. And this one might be shiny because it has a little thing there.
Probably has a little shiny dingle.
I'm not crazy about the shiny stuff.
Anyway. I hate how it says 2000 on it. That's driving me nuts.
I was wondering if they were actually going to be printed like that, and I'm not actually positive.
It's just in the picture.
But we could figure that out. We could figure that out because I could pull up some of the ones that are already on the market. Probably. Let me go to TCG Player. Because Wall of Roots, I know Wall of Roots was printed and is available for purchase. And I actually put some in my shopping cart the other day. And I was like, oh, why don't I get some of these Wall of Roots promos for $1? And then I thought, why am I doing that? I know they're only $1, but I don't need them. And I also don't need this many like extra cards. You know what I'm saying? And plus it's foil. Here's why I would be doing it. I would be doing it thinking that, oh, maybe this will go up in value because it's foil and then I could flip it or something. But how much am I going to be able to flip it for? What's a foil 30th anniversary promo Wall of Roots ever actually going to be worth? I don't need
I don't
need to deal with that. I don't get time for that.
I wouldn't fuck around with that. I mean, unless you really like the art or something, you know what I mean? Instead of the old Wall of Roots.
I do like the art, but I don't like the fact that it's a shiny foil. Yeah. So here we go. I need one with a photo.
I think that's on there.
I think it is too. It definitely is. Yeah. So they will have the date stamped on it.
Woof.
Shout out to Vlad's Card Shop. 100% rating, 326 sales. Shout out to Vlad for putting up a photo.
Off the ground.
And I'm seeing something I didn't even notice. Look, it has like a 30th hologram on it.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't have known that at all if I hadn't actually seen a picture of it. So shout out again to Vlad, showing the people what they need to see.
Yeah, giving us that info.
Core Haven. I bought a Core Haven because I was like, this seems like a very good card.
I looked at this and I decided not to buy it. And now that I'm looking at the price, I guess that must have been why, because I didn't want to pay $15 for it.
I think it's gone up.
But I do like it and would like to own it. That's what I'm saying.
I picked up one of these when I was thinking one of the first decks that I would build in pre-modern would be like a white weenie. It turns out that's not going to be it's not going to be the first deck I built. I've built 2 decks already. But I do still want to build a mono white at some other point. And I like the Core Haven because if you're getting overwhelmed by some stomper early on, you can use the Core Haven to just not to worry about that until you get your army. It's Maze of Ith-ish,
you know? Yeah. It taps for mana, which Maze of Ith doesn't do, but then you have to pay mana to use it, unlike Maze of Ith. So it's a side grade Maze of Ith.
Yeah, and I can't run Maze of Ith in my pre-modern decks because they're not pre-modern legal. I want to run a Maze of Ith, but it's not. Anyway, Core Haven, I liked Core Haven. I thought that was a cool thing to reprint as a pre-release promo. Other one, Vindicate. Vindicate's been printed a lot, and it was actually just printed again recently, too, in maybe Brothers or Dominaria Remastered or Modern Horizons 2. I don't remember which one, but it's had recent reprints.
Okay.
Vindicate's a card that makes me want to play just a black-white deck. I haven't put one together yet, but
Yeah, I would have loved to have had this card around when I played black-white.
It's a beast, Alex.
Because I don't know how well you remember my like black-white deck for most of its run. It was mostly black, and white was in there pretty much for Disenchant and Swords to Plowshares. So this would have been like right up my alley.
Yeah. It could be either one. More mana than both, but it can be either one.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. The pre-release promo is in another language.
I see that.
Each set of these, they're putting one of them out in another language, in some language that Magic the Gathering is printed in.
Oh.
So this one's Italian. I think the previous set, they had one that was printed in Chinese.
Oh.
I think it was Chinese.
I don't really like foreign language cards. Sorry.
I don't either, but that's just because I'm uneducated and ignorant.
Yes,
I don't
exactly. Yeah, I can't
languages.
read them, so I don't.
Yeah. So as soon as I learn another language, if I ever do, I would like to run.
Yes,
if
I spoke Italian, I
yeah.
might very well have like Italian, legends.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an Italian land tax. I don't even know why. It must have come with something in a trade that I made like 25 years ago.
By the way, I think I saw that Weekly Movers article mention land tax going up. Just a
no. I want 4.
I
They're already
don't
expensive.
get 4 land taxes.
Why not?
Because I don't have to play against you.
No, it would be a very, very long time before I played the deck that I would play the 4 land taxes in. But I want 4. I want actually that's not true because I could run it
only land tax guy.
I want
you
kind of but that's mostly because the 4th edition, is that what else it's in, is also not cheap.
Yes, it's not.
The Legends is definitely cheaper, but I feel like the Legends is like 60 to 70 right now, and the 4th edition one is like 40 to 50.
You're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, so forget about it. If I have to pay less than twice the same amount for a Legends card that I have to pay for a 4th edition printing, I'm going
edition
Legends all
is
day.
35 right now, 36. Legends is 78.
I know this because I've been looking at them.
Twice the price.
Every month or so, I take a look at the Legends that are under $100 and see what's out there and whether it's going up in price or down in price.
Spinal Villain went down finally a little bit, which I still kind of want one, but I still
don't terrible butt card that you want to buy.
Terrible butt card. I still want one of these. I like the art. It's down to like $54, but I still don't want to pay that much for it.
I'm going to pull up Spinal Villain. I also forget what it does. Does it kill a blue creature or something?
Yes, you can tap it to destroy blue creatures. It's a red hate card. Or a red-blue hate card.
A blue hate card. It's a villain with a butt for a face.
It's not a butt. It's a multi-segmented eye, like a fly.
2 colorless, 1 red.
Some sort of extruding brain
1/2
eye.
tap to destroy blue creature. It's a terrible card.
Terrible card.
It's only going up in price because it was a reserve list card. That's the only reason. Well, it still is a reserve list card.
Yes.
Nobody wants to play Spinal Villain.
I would sideboard this. Why not?
What would be the use case?
Against a blue deck that has creatures in it.
But what does
kaboosh, they're dead. Kaboosh, dead.
What blue creature though?
What, people play blue creatures?
It might be okay in like old school environment. Where
you can kill multicolored creatures with it if they
you're
have
dealing
blue
with Mahamoti Jin, where you're dealing with a Serendip Efreet.
Kill a clone. Does clone copy the color? I can't remember.
Doppelganger. I don't remember.
I can't remember. I think one of those copies the color and the other doesn't, maybe.
I guess you could use it to pick off Legends too. Yeah, like you said, multicolor.
Or you could put some sort of color swapping effect into your deck in combo now. You could play this in red blue with Slate of Minds.
Seems like a terrible deck.
Something like that.
I don't know. We all have cards that we want.
It would be a terrible deck.
Cards too. Yeah. The Spinal Villain never appealed to me for some reason. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just got caught up in some reserve list FOMO with it. I don't know.
But Vindicate. I like the old Vindicate. But it's a good card to reprint. I like this card a lot. Exalted Angel is another one that that's going to be part of this pre-release promo set. Exalted
I like the
Angel.
new art.
I love the Exalted Angel, and I like the new art too. It's very like dark and creepy.
Yeah, she's like the creepy dagger, and she kind of looks like a spooky ghost.
Yeah.
I hope they don't ban it because, like, the clan.
Oh, jeez. Didn't even think about that. I don't think they will.
I hope not.
And then
Sweet though.
I know I looked it up too because I was like, oh, I wonder if that's brand new art for this particular promo, or if it had been printed with this art before. And it had been printed with this art before. In From the Vault Angels, but with a frame, and it's disappointing to me because it's with a frame that I don't like.
Yeah.
But with coloration that's even better. If you look at the background here, it's lighter, so it brings out more details in the wings.
You're right. You can definitely see more of what's going on. It's not as dark.
Dark.
Yeah.
I think when they're side by side, I did this side by side earlier. I think I like the lighter background.
I like how much glow you get with this one though. Like she has that like orangish light reflecting off of her, and that looks like super spooky. Flashlight under the chin style, you know?
Yeah, so maybe this one isn't bad. Maybe this one is. Maybe I got to change my mind. Maybe this one is just as good or better. This probably isn't. I like
this too, though. I wish you could combine them a little bit. Like if there was like a third option that was kind of a mix of the two.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast. Can we just like? Can you just make us like personalized Exalted Angels?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Send you our specs.
And other cards be like, I want a darker Ernholm Jin, please.
Yeah. I wonder if these ones are just shinier and more orange because this is also foiled out.
That could be.
I wonder if that's what we're seeing.
I didn't think about that.
Exalted Angel.
I like that art.
I love this card, and actually one of the very first decks that I bought cards for when we started getting back into Magic was going to be like a red, white, blue deck that ran Lightning Angel, Exalted Angel. I had saw somebody playing something like that. That really appealed to me. It brought me back to my Sarah Angel days. It brought me back to my budget version of the deck, which was primarily in my hands. A red, white, blue deck. And I have all the cards for this now. I just haven't put it together. So I was like, I got to put this together and play some Exalted Angel because I like the Exalted Angel a lot. And then the fourth one,
the Lightning Angel.
I like Lightning Angel too. I like them both.
It's pretty good.
It's just that 4 mana and three of those mana are all different colors, so it's hard to come out on the fourth turn necessarily. But maybe Temple of the False God. This is one that I was not familiar with. So this is one card that's going to be reprinted.
I think I mentioned
this promos. You maybe did, but here's what happened, Alex. You mentioned cards on the episodes, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, and then I forget. I have to be shown things like 3 or 4 times at least. We should know this based on our conversations about treasure tokens. And I'm like, what's a treasure token again?
But yeah, I definitely remember this card because of the art. The little guy walking up the hill with the spear.
Yeah, the art is essentially the same. It's just not foil.
The card looks very similar.
It's the same. It may be a little bit less vibrant, if anything. But I don't always know if it's less vibrant or if it's just that like the site that I took this image from.
Right, the
upload wasn't as good. I don't know.
That could be just
Temple of the False God. I was looking at this. It's not an expensive land. I don't think I want to play this for anything though.
I didn't think. I looked at it and I almost bought it because of the art and that it's a land. And then I was kind of like, I don't think it's that good, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I think it's a cheap land because
it's cheap good. Though, isn't it? Yeah, so maybe I'll still buy it. It might not be that, but now I'm looking at it again. It might not be that bad.
Add 2 mana to your mana pool. Play this ability only if you control 5 or more lands.
Yeah. It's late game mana ramp.
Yeah, which is
to put more than 1 in my deck because of that. Probably, you don't want to have 4 of them and be drawing them early game.
Yeah, cards that are late game mana ramp, they never go up in price really. Like all the mana ramp, all the things.
That's an interesting observation.
To generate 2 colorless or 3 colorless, they're all things you can get out like first or second turn to power out some quick combo. Seems like it. Unless I'm wrong. Somebody could point out where
No, I mean, I take your point about early game mana ramp. I'm just wondering, I wonder what examples are of cards that are kind of like more built for late game mana boosts, and if any of them are good.
I don't know.
Hmm.
5 mana is a lot. That means this isn't coming out until turn 6. Unless you run it in a deck with a card that lets you play more than one land at once, or like one more land per turn. But most of those cards, like Exploration, for instance, tend to be green, I think.
Yeah,
and
I'd say they're
then
mostly
do
green.
you really need this in green? I don't know. Yeah, it's only $1 right now. It's been a.
It might. I would play with it. I'd try it out in a deck that brings out land faster with fetching somehow.
Yeah.
Tithe with white. I keep mentioning Tithe for some reason. I don't know. I've been itching
Tithe,
to
you just
the
get
deck.
planes though, and you
Right.
can't put it more than the one. You still can't put more than one land out per turn, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just bring them to your hand. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Tithe really shines in formats with duels. We'll talk about this in Commander
Oh,
at
okay.
some point. Future potential spoiler alert for a card that I may add to my Commander deck.
That makes sense though. Tutor for your duel.
Exactly. Tithe is great. Tithe is great mana fixing in formats where you can play duels. And duels are actually the 2 different land types. If it's a Savannah, it's a plain and
Right.
a forest.
Yeah. It's a plain and
Not the case with pain lands, which I guess relearned when we started playing again. I was like, oh damn it. But anyways, those are the 4 cards that are in the pre-release promos. I really like I really love 3 of these cards, but I don't love the art for 2 of them.
Well, maybe they'll bring the old prices down.
I am into the Exalted Angel, though. I am into the new Exalted Angel. Like you, I'm not sure how I feel about the date being stamped there. It makes it special, I guess, in some way.
But it makes it. I feel like it's tacky, cheesy.
I was going to say tacky. Well, the whole foiling is tacky.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Whatever.
My opinion. Okay, Alex.
Sorry, foil lovers.
Now, Alex, it's time for our final segment of the episode. It is time to enter the Old Men Magic Commander Corner. Alex, today in the Old Men Magic Commander
huddled there.
Okay. Yeah, we're huddled in the corner. We're going to talk about Mana Crypt today in the corner.
Oh, okay.
Mana Crypt. I was watching a video from Jake and Jeweler Magic, and it was called like the top 10 cards to proxy in 2023 for your EDH deck, something along those lines. That was the theme of the episode.
Okay.
And they basically talked about cards that were commander staples that everybody wants to play in their commander deck, but they're so expensive that you might as well just proxy them right now. And the very first one they talked about was Mana Crypt.
Okay.
In Mana Crypt, you and I remember back in the day.
Yeah.
As a card that I never had, but I know some people had them. I would see them floating around. They were just part of you got them free when you purchased a Magic the Gathering novel.
Yeah, I don't know how many people know this, but this card first came out in a book, or like I think you had to mail in for it, right?
It was a media promo. I don't even remember
got
how
it for purchasing a novel. And I would say, again, we were kids and maybe we weren't tapped into everything, but the cards that were released as that, the other one was that dragon. I forget which.
Nalathni dragon, something like that.
Yeah, Nalathni dragon, that sounds right. You know, no one really wanted these cards. I think we all thought they were kind of junk because they were freebie, came with the book cards. They weren't very good. Now, you know, they're expensive because they're rare.
But you see, Nalathni dragon still nobody's playing it, so it's $740.
Oh well,
it's dropped.
I thought all the cards from those books were expensive now, just because they were rare.
So nobody's playing Nalathni dragon. I actually don't know the relative scarcity of the Nalathni dragon.
Can you go down and see if there's more than one of this?
That's it.
Oh,
and,
Japanese one.
In an Asian language, and this one, both media promos.
Okay.
So this hasn't even had the reprints that Mana Crypt has had, and it's still only $740.
Okay, I was wrong about that then.
Nalathni dragon, 2 colorless, 2 red, summon dragon. I don't remember what it does. 1/1 flying bands. Okay,
it's like a dragon wolf kind of.
High mana cost for a 1/1 flyer, has bands, which nobody even deals with any longer, and it has fire breathing. Pay red +1/+0 until end of turn. If more than 3 is spent in this manner during one turn, burying the Nalathni Dragon at the end of turn. So it's a banding Dragon Whelp with a lower power toughness.
A lower power toughness, yeah.
It's not good.
Not good.
But this is how we felt about Mana Crypt back in the day also.
Yes.
Not good. It has apparently since become a commander staple.
Yes.
Because of that, it has been reprinted.
It's so much money.
Times.
Why is it worth that much money?
In Eternal Masters and in Double Masters.
Go to that.
Eternal.
Sorry, the second one down. I just wanted to see that. Oh, interesting. Okay, never mind.
A Double Masters extra showcase art.
Showcase.
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
Yeah.
But all of the original from the book is over $300 right now.
Yeah.
And all of the reprints from the Masters series are over $200, are very close to $200.
When I saw that, my first thought was like, "Oh my god, I got to go to some like used bookstores and see if I can like find these." But then I realized you had to mail in for them, so like you wouldn't even be able to get the card if you found the old book. It couldn't do it.
I wonder how many people like you and me are out there floating around, but unlike you and me who didn't. Well, you didn't get rid of your cards. I got rid of a lot of my cards. Did you get rid of any of your cards? You did sell off big stuff, right?
Just some of those big cards. The Lotus and Mox.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you had Mana Crypts, you wouldn't have even bothered like putting in the effort to move them.
True, you're right. No, yeah, I wouldn't have sold those. I'd still have it.
There's got to be people like you and me sitting around who just have this stupid card that they never wanted to play back.
That's true, yeah, and don't know that it ever went up in value.
I would have never guessed. So what I wanted to talk to you about, Alex, today was like, do you have any idea why this card is $200 to $300 and what makes it a commander staple? We got to get to what Mana Crypt is. It is a zero casting cost artifact, which people love zero casting cost artifacts for various reasons. Although we'll talk about this in a later episode, I guess. But I've seen some other zero casting cost artifacts that have gone up like in price more than I thought they would have, but like Ornithopter has not also. Even it has gone up, but like why are people playing this card? Let's go. The cat's jumping on my light. There we go.
Hi, cat.
Anyways, in a future episode, we need to talk about zero casting cost artifacts and what people use them for.
Another angle, yeah.
Let's focus in on Mana Crypt specifically. The zero casting cost artifact. During your upkeep, flip a coin. Opponent calls heads or tails while coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in opponent's favor, Mana Crypt deals 3 damage to you.
Yeah.
You can tap it to add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. Play this ability as an interrupt. Now, playing something for 0 mana and being able to tap it to add 2 mana to your
I was wrong.
On turn 2 is good.
It is good.
But then it's stuck in play in my mind. And I'm like, half of the time it's going to do 3 damage to you.
It doesn't matter because you're going to kill them too fast for that to matter. I think that's the gist. It's like, it's 0 casting cost. It gets you Soul Ring mana for free at the beginning of the game. Like you said, it's still 50-50 that you're going to take the 3 damage. You're going to kill them in 5 turns.
That's the reason now. So you're exactly right. That is what people are doing with it now. That's why it's such a commander staple. It's not just a commander staple.
By the way, I had not fully remembered exactly how it worked. I thought that the coin flipping affected your ability like to use it every turn. Like
I did
if you
too,
lost the flip,
actually.
It was tapped, or like every time you had to use it, you had to flip the coin to see. So I was wrong about exactly what it did.
I did also, because until I zoomed in here, I was about to say, oh, it just untaps it. You can untap it. Because I thought you had to win the coin that flipped to untap it too. But let's say even back in the day, what would you have done with this to kill somebody right away?
I don't know. I still think. I mean, look how good Soul Ring is, and you can put this in addition to the Soul Ring because you can only have 1. And this is 0 casting cost instead of 1. So it's just making your deck faster.
So even before Commander came out, I know one thing people were doing with it that probably made it first spike in price. I don't know, maybe it was spiking in price before this, but when I was reading about what people are doing with Mana Crypt and why it's broken, this card came up. Tinker. Tinker did not exist when we played.
Oh.
Now this is obvious. People were like, play an island, a Mana Crypt, tap for Tinker, sack the Mana Crypt,
Yeah.
and then bring in whatever giant artifact creature. The
Yeah.
people listed a bunch of like
Colossus
10.
of Sardia.
Yeah, but that would stay tapped. But since Colossus of Sardia, there have been others that were printed that you can bring out that are like 10/10 and don't stay tapped unless you pay the mana to untap them. Is that what Colossus of Sardia is? How do you untap Colossus of Sardia?
I forget. Yeah, I forgot.
I do too.
That sounds right.
But
yeah,
hey, still Colossus of Sardia. You could bring out Colossus of Sardia.
Well, I mean, forget artifact creature. Even you could just bring out a really powerful, like 5 or 6 casting cost artifact.
You have to pay 9 to untap Colossus of Sardia.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were talking specifically about artifact creatures. Yeah, you could play a lot of things with it, but Tinker, I was like, oh, that changes the game in my mind for me.
Yeah, that's a good
play an
combo.
island, play a Mana Crypt, Tinker, sack the Mana
now
Crypt.
Your Mana Crypt is like a 2-mana Black Lotus, kind of like a 2 colorless Black Lotus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 colorless Black Lotus. That's what I was thinking. I was like, we had a 2 colorless Black Lotus just staring us in the face.
Yeah.
But also we didn't have Tinker.
Even with the 3 damage, like, I don't know, I could still see it working with the 3 damage. You'd have to, be leaning into it, playing like a really fast deck, like a deck that really wants to kill quickly. But I might take that trade-off, like...
Which I never
And again,
did.
like you said, there are other ways to get that off the battlefield, too. Like, you could sacrifice it for another effect. You could do a board wipe.
Everybody on Gather is talking about Tinker. But yeah, I wonder how many people were trying to play with this card before Tinker existed. I don't actually know. But it would be nice to look into that. I know that I've turn zeroed an active Time Vault with this card. Infinite turns out of the starting gate. I say this is pretty damn useful. Neither one of us had a Time Vault ever.
No.
Okay, so maybe it's broken.
It was cool art.
Maybe it's obviously always broken. Maybe it's always been obviously broken with cards that we never owned. Time Vault, 2 colorless, mono artifact, tap to gain an additional turn after the current one. Time Vault doesn't untap normally during untap phase. To untap it, you must skip a turn. Time Vault begins tapped.
It's not bad.
I'm already confused. Time Vault always confused me.
I think he's just talking about getting the Time Vault out fast.
Yeah. But how does he say infinite turns out of the starting gate?
Yeah.
I got to think about how you turn Mana Crypt Time Vault into infinite turns out of the starting gate. Okay, we're back, Alex. We had some technical difficulties. We were in the middle of being confused by Time Vault.
Yes.
Time Vault. I'm trying to remember why we were talking about Time Vault. Oh, because somebody said something about using Mana Crypt to generate an infinite combo with an infinite turn combo with Time Vault. And I'm currently confused as to how that would work. So I'm going to have to step back and think about it. And I think that will be maybe a follow-up to next episode.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is it Mana Crypt, Time Vault, Blue, Twiddle, and then what? I don't know. But just like to go back to the Mana Crypt Tinker thing, I'm going to go to this comment on Gather. Person says, turn 1 island Mana Crypt, Tinker, sack Mana Crypt, equals Inkwell Leviathan, Sphinx of the Steel Wind, Dark Steel Colossus, or whatever robot happens to be fashionable at the time. As old men, all we could think of was Colossus of Sardia. But I wanted to see what these other cards are that they mentioned. Inkwell Leviathan.
I've heard of that. Here's one, though, by the way. Voltaic Key from Urza's Saga. 1 colorless artifact. Spend 1 and tap it to untap target artifact.
Yeah. I was looking at Voltaic Key the other day, and I saw that it was even from an old bordered set. And I was like, I should maybe buy some of those because they're not expensive.
Yeah, it seems like
it could. Card. Exactly. I'm not going to use it in all my, like, the regular types of decks that I play, but it seems like it would have some really good use cases if you build decks that specifically need that type of thing. Inkwell Leviathan. I don't know when this was first printed. Conflux.
Yep.
7 casting costs, or 7 colorless, 2 blue, but who cares if you tinker it out? Artifact creature. That's weird that it's an artifact creature, but 2 blue. I was temporarily confused when I read that. Island
Yeah,
Walk,
they started
Trample,
doing that at
Shroud,
some
7/11.
And I don't like it.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn with your
Yeah.
blue mana casting cost artifacts.
You could bring out no, you can't. I was gonna say Phyrexian Dreadnought. No, of course you can't. I mean, you could, but then it just immediately go to the graveyard. But Inkwell Leviathan, so not a turn 1 kill, but you got your opponent on a 3-turn clock now. All of a sudden, if you bring out the Inkwell Leviathan first turn,
Yeah.
what is the Sphinx of the Steel Wind? Sphinx of the Steel Wind. I can't speak very well, but that's not going to stop me from podcasting, Alex.
It shouldn't stop you from trying to speak.
I've learned over the last 10 years, listening to different podcasts, that you don't actually need to be a good speaker.
No, well, that's kind of what I like about podcasting. Is it's more informal. You expect people to trip up and make mistakes and have, it's like a organic dialogue. So it's
the podcasting world is full. It's full of marble-mouthed morons who are making millions from their stupid podcast.
There's a nice alliteration there.
I know. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. 5 colorless, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black. This is blowing my mind. This is the first time I've seen these. 6/6 flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink, protection of green. Okay, so also not like a 2-turn kill or something. That's a 4-turn clock.
Yeah.
Dark Steel Colossus is the other one this person mentioned.
I've heard of that.
They also say, or whatever robot happens to be fashionable at the time. But okay, Here's what I'm talking about. Alex. This is a 2-turn.
I've seen this.
Darksteel Colossus, 11 colorless, the way a artifact should be. Artifact creature Golem, trample, 11/11. Darksteel Colossus is indestructible. If the Colossus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal the Colossus and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. So, okay, this is what I would play, unless there's something like over the other 2. I'd play the Colossus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
2 turns. Indestructible.
Although I did like that last one.
Trampler. What was it that you liked about it?
It's just,
it's obviously
so
cool.
many things going on. The fact that it's 6/6 makes it, like you said, it takes more turns to kill them. But
all
those goodies.
Yeah, it has lifelink too, though, which I just noticed now because I went past that. So basically, you're introducing a 12-point life differential if you hit with this. So it could be even better.
And that might be really good in commander games where, like, after you finish off one person, you have to deal with more people. So you want to be, like, getting life for killing one person.
Yes.
To go into the battle with the next.
Plus, it has vigilance, which Darksteel Colossus doesn't. So you attack with this, and it's still there as a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was overlooking some of those extra abilities. But anyways, that's one obvious thing we can do with Mana Crypt nowadays that we couldn't have done back in the day. Tinker to bring out a big robot, a giant robot. Back in the day, we could have tinkered. No, we couldn't have tinkered. Never mind. I was going to say tinkered to bring out a Triskelion. It depends how far back in the day you go. If you go back in the day to where Urza's Legacy was available, we could have bought a Triskelion, which is not good. It's good, but it's no Sphinx of the Steel Wind. It's no Darksteel Colossus. I can't think of a 10/10 artifact creature or 11/11 artifact creature we could have brought out back then. We talked about Colossus Asardia, but then it's tapped. We could twiddle it, untap it. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is part of our Commander Corner discussion. Next, we're going to go into the meat of our Commander Corner discussions. Are you confused, Alex? Are you thinking about something?
No, not about anything you did. I'm just looking at cards still, Time Vault and the like. Anyways, keep going.
Okay. Sorry. You're working on next week's follow-up to this episode.
The follow-up. We're on the follow-up.
Try to figure out how we generate infinite turns with a turn 1 Mana Crypt and a Time Vault. Now we go to the most exciting part of the Commander Corner, Alex. The people are talking about this. I'm getting messages about it every episode. No, I'm not getting any messages.
Okay. But I was going to say, what are they saying? My deck is stupid?
I'm sure both of our decks are very stupid right now. But this is the part of the episode where we reveal one or more additions to our first ever Commander decks. We are building our first ever Commander decks. They are going to be old frame only. They are going to be terrible. Today, Alex, today I'm revealing some enchantments. So far, I've been revealing creatures. I have my commander, Jacques Levert, Jacques Divert. I have Keza. These are both creatures that pump my green creatures. I have green Manimals. I have green 1-drops. I have Wily Wolves to pump. I have Pendelhaven to pump. Now I'm introducing some enchantments. Alex, my commander deck is going to be full of gold. The gold I'm introducing today, Alex. Mirari's Wake.
Mirari's Wake.
I love this card. I'm just throwing it in because it seems like why not? That's pretty much what I'm throwing in all these cards.
It goes with the idea of your deck,
It seems like why not? Yeah, it's another way to pump. All creatures get +1/+1. Also, whenever I tap a land for mana, I get 1 extra mana added to my mana pool. It seems like something I should have in my commander deck, Alex. When I'm running green white, So there we go with Mirari's Wake. Mirari's Wake. Addition number 1 for the day. Addition number 2 for the day. Another enchantment, Fires of Yavimaya.
Yeah.
It also enables my creatures, gives them haste. It can also pump as a one-off. If I sacrifice Fires of Yavimaya, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Alex, are you mocking my speech on our podcast?
No. I just thought you were throwing out a yar like a pirate. I was agreeing. I was like, yar. Yes.
Fires of Yavimaya. It's a pirate-based Fires deck.
Well, yeah, this is great because it's a target. People want to get rid of that as soon as they start. Oh, shit, I don't want his creature to have haste.
Yeah.
And if they destroy it, then you're like, oh, I sacrificed it to give my creature the boost as a response. So that's nice.
Get something out of it, yeah.
I like this. I've heard of the card, like the name of it. But I'm not sure I knew what it did. I don't think I did. But I like it.
We have to have episodes on Fires of Yavimaya decks at some point in the future because this was like a big deck in Type 2 or maybe what was called Type 1.5.
So out of touch.
I don't remember what block. I guess probably the invasion block.
I can see how it would be, though. I mean,
this became a dominant deck type.
I'm trying to think of what other enchantments I know of that just like give your creatures haste. And I'm sure there are some, but
there's Concordant Crossroads in green, but that's even the reprints are like $30 to $50, I think. So I just haven't.
Okay, Concordant Crossroads. I didn't think of that. I was trying to think of red.
Plus, it gives all creatures haste, I think, Concordant Crossroads.
Oh, yeah, your opponents. Okay. I was trying to think of red. There's probably some in red, but my instinct is that they cost like a chunk of mana. They're probably like 4 casting cost type things.
I can't think of anything in red off the top of my head.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know.
But to search.
Yeah.
I have 3 enchantments today, Alex. The third one that I'm adding today to the commander deck. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, if you want, it won't be all creatures, but if you want a 1 creature enchantment, you could do Instill Energy.
Why don't I remember that at all? What is Instill Energy? Old school Alpha Beta Unlimited Revised. It was all revised, right? Okay.
There's an unlimited Instill Energy that I just got recently.
It's an
I'm going to try to get a few more.
Enchant creature?
Yeah, it's a 1 green enchant creature. I don't want to have to read it, especially with the unlimited text because they've changed it. But it gives your creature haste.
Okay.
More or less.
This enchantment does nothing to my creatures, but it turns my creatures into potential 2-for-1s, meaning I could play a creature and at the same time use it to destroy something my opponent has. It turns my creatures into an Uktabi orangutan, potentially, plus something that enters the battlefield and kills an enchantment. I don't know if there's something like that. I can't remember. But this enchantment is Aura Shards, 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. Enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. So I like that. Like if I'm the only person that has an artifact or enchantment, I don't have to sacrifice my own. Just I may do it. So like, why not put this in a green-white commander deck? I mean, how many times am I going to be playing commander where nobody else on the board is going to have an artifact or an enchantment on the board? What are we talking about?
What are we talking? No, I think it's a super great card, and I want some, but it's like $12 or something, isn't it?
I think it was around $10. Yeah, I bought one. About one.
For some reason, I feel like I saw something about this financially recently. I don't know if it changed price or.
There's a pretty good chance that you brought this up in an episode at some point.
I think, I don't know.
I think you did. I think you did.
But I am aware of the card and I want it.
Probably when I saw it first. So those are the additions to my commander deck.
Have you considered Armadillo Cloak as well?
I have considered Armadillo Cloak. It's not in yet.
I always throw that out there.
It's not in yet.
Cloak.
It's potential, and it fits the theme. It's an enchant creature, and it buffs up my creatures. It gives them plus something, and trample, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't want to speak out of turn now. I'll have to look it up. I think that's right.
That's it for my commander deck this week, Alex. It's coming together. It's basic. It's creatures.
Oh, no, yeah,
creature stuff.
It's +2/+2 trample and lifelink.
Oh, I love lifelink.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like Armadillo.
You
I didn't even remember why I liked it. I just remembered it was good.
You could still even. Well, I'm going to say if back in the day, Spirit Link used to work so that whatever creature was Spirit linked, you would still get the life. So, like, let's say you didn't have a Sword to Plowshare and your opponent had Sarah Angel out or something. You could Spirit Link their Sarah, and then you could just let it hit you, and then you gain.
Oh, and it wouldn't do any damage.
So it would even out.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I remember. Those are the rules that we made up, at least that's how it
seems
works.
reasonable. Yeah. I don't know the wording exactly, but what did they change that?
No, but I'm wondering if Armadillo Cloak would even work the same way. Not that that's what I would want to put Armadillo Cloak in my deck for, but it would be nice to have that ability if your opponent brought out something that you couldn't deal with, just to Armadillo Cloak it. And who cares? You know, you give it +2/+2 trample, but you just let it through every time, and then it just evens out.
True.
Again, not the ideal use case for it, but
right. But it's a secondary use that could save your life, so it's always just something to note. This just says whenever enchanted creature deals damage, you gain that much life. So I think that would work.
Yeah, it's actually even better probably in a multiplayer deck because you could pump one of your opponent's creatures and be like, "Hey, why don't you attack a third person?" And they'll take the extra damage from the +2/+2, and you'll get the extra life.
Okay, all right, get ready. We're going deep now.
Oh, shit. I'm confused already.
Ruling. If Armadillo Cloak enchants a creature you don't control, you'll gain life when it deals damage, as long as that damage hasn't already caused you to lose the game.
Okay, that was the other thing I was wondering. I was like, they probably don't even out immediately. So you have to make sure that it doesn't kill you.
It evens out as long as it isn't a death blow.
That's too scary then.
Interesting. That is scary, yeah. But you can still do it.
Yeah.
Other ruling. Okay, this one's longer. While Armadillo makes me laugh immediately starting to read this. While Armadillo Cloak's last ability is similar to Lifelink, it isn't Lifelink. It's dash. It's a normal triggered ability. If a creature you control with lifelink wears an Armadillo Cloak and deals damage, first you'll gain that much life for lifelink, and then Armadillo Cloak's triggered ability is put onto the stack. This also means that multiple instances of Armadillo Cloak's ability do trigger separately.
Okay, so did they have to clarify that so that people knew you could essentially 2x lifelink something? It's not redundant.
Because if you put if Armadillo Cloak said lifelink and you put something else with lifelink on the creature and an Armadillo Cloak,
it would just be redundant.
It would just be one. Yeah, it'd be redundant. Yeah. But this is saying that it works on top of lifelink, which is cool. So does Spirit Link say lifelink now? Is that the errata on that card?
I don't know.
We're gonna find out, Steve.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't look at gather erratas. I don't acknowledge them.
Nope, it's not lifelink on Spirit Link either.
Oh, okay. Okay then. So I guess lifelink essentially isn't just Spirit Link, because that means you could Spirit Link a lifelink creature too, and probably have the same effect.
That's good to know. We learned something important here.
Yeah.
double up on that Spirit Link Lifelink action.
I was considering putting a Spirit Link in here, but I'm better just throwing the Armadillo Cloak. It's extra mana, but
Considering getting a Spirit Link, still trying to get one.
I have two from. I bought one from Legends, but I had two just from. I don't know, the 90s. From
White Border.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get a Legends one. It's very handsome looking.
I know it is good. I like Legend. There's a group of Legends in the Commons that I'm buying. I want to get play sets over time, like Bloodlust, Whirling Dervish, Spirit Link, Azure Drake, maybe some others I can't think of right now. All things that have been reprinted, but like I like the Legends ones, and they're all under $20 right now. Some under 10, and maybe we'll be dropping more. So
Azure Drake, that was a neat pick. I kind of forgot about that card.
I just like it because it's a blue flyer. I don't know.
I don't hate the card.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's lightning bolt proof. It
Yeah,
only
it's 2/4
mana.
2/4
4 mana for it's a better casting cost than Dragon Whelp would be.
Yeah, I'm into it.
It's nice.
Don't know what deck I'll play it in.
$9.
I'll play it in the deck that you can use to that you could sideboard and Spinal Villain against.
Nice.
Okay, Alex. Do you have your Commander deck edition today?
Yeah.
However many cards
I'm going to give you
add,
not too many, at least one, maybe. Let's see. I'm just going to throw out Felwar Stone because I need some more multicolored.
Oh, okay.
I need more multicolored mana. It's just a boring kind of mana rock card, but I'll put that in there. Maybe I'll replace it if I find something, I guess that's better. But in Old Border, I feel like that's probably, I probably won't want to replace that.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a Felwar Stone in mine too. There's not going to be many artifacts. At least the way I have it set up now, I don't have many artifacts at all.
Decree of Savagery. What's that?
This is just something that I just bookmarked this like 6 months ago, and now every time I pull up MTG stocks, this just shows up. Scourge, 7 colorless, 2 green, instant. Put 4 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. You can cycle it for 4 colorless, 2 green. When you cycle Decree of Savagery, you may put 4 +1/+1 counters on target creature. I bookmarked this because it's going to be part of a short that I'm going to edit at some point about Magic the Gathering cards that are Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, this is one of the Lou Ferrigno cards. Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Because I was reading it and I'm like, why this?
If I ever get around to making that video.
Nice.
My everything is lagging, going super slow today. It's taking me forever. Right now, I'm just trying to pull up a picture of Felwar Stone, Alex.
That's okay. We don't have to add my pictures right now. We can just talk about them. The font is weird on your MTG stocks.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Like the way the numbers are written? That's not how it looks on mine.
Looks a little bit different, yeah. Are you going to use the 9th edition Felwar Stone, Alex?
No. I'm going to get the dark Felwar Stone.
I think I'm going to do this for now because everything is lagging. It's going super slow for me. I wonder if this will probably lag too. Trying to make a text box.
Stay tuned, viewers.
Go. Felwar Stone.
Felwar Stone. There's going to be a Felwar Stone there. I'll give you my next card while we're waiting for the box to enlarge.
Proxy Felwar Stone from the dark. What's your next edition?
One proxy Felwar Stone. Again, just so people know, this is a group hug deck, so I want to try to make my opponents not want to kill me at first. I'm going to play things that help my opponents, or at least look like they're helping everyone or helping my opponents, so they want to keep me around. Card I'm going to add is Eladomri's Vineyard.
Okay, Alex.
I like this card. I think it's a good pick.
Okay, I have looked this one up before. I spelled this wrong, but we're going with this.
I think you spelled it right.
Eladamri's
Eladamra's Vineyard.
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 Close enough. Now what I want to do is pull up Eldamari's Vineyard and remind myself and the viewers.
I can read it for you since your computer's.
What this card does. We might get this pulled up pretty quick. I see a V. There's two things. Okay, go.
It's an enchantment from Tempest. It's 1 green casting cost. At the beginning of each player's main phase, add green to that player's mana pool. So it gives everyone green every turn.
Oh, yeah.
And it only costs me 1 to put it down.
Yeah.
And it's only 1 green in a 5-color deck. That's important. It's fast.
Beautiful art.
Yeah. Pretty looking card.
Vibrant colors.
Vibrant. Very stylized.
Yeah.
It looks sort of like 2-dimensional, layered, like collage-y. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I've looked at
I got one
card.
of these a little while ago. I think they're around
It's a common
or so.
Oh no, sorry. I'm just getting screwed up because I'm seeing the black symbol, but Tempest, this was prior to the black versus silver, but versus
when was that? Urza's? Did Urza's start that?
I think it did. I think it started with Urza's. Because it's not in Stronghold, it's not in Tempest. It's 577, it's coming down.
Nice. Yeah, I paid more for this a few months ago, so I think I probably paid 7 or 8.
Well, I mean, that's pretty close to 570.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, it wasn't $10. I couldn't remember. But yeah. Also, it has a quote about mushroom wine.
Made Gerard's head spin, and his stomach soon followed suit.
Yeah. So they're out there tripping on mushroom wine.
I like it. I won't be attacking you if you have this in play, probably.
Yeah, you're like, Alex, he's my guy.
He's giving me force. That's what I need.
2 green every turn.
I need force. I need as many force as I can get. At least until the big tramplers come out, and then maybe they'll be directed right at your face.
Right. Yeah, of course. I expect no less.
Okay. 2
So
additions for the day?
Yeah.
Okay, great. A Mana Rock and Eldamari's Vineyard, an enchantment. Today was a day of enchantments for our commander decks. 4 enchantments added to our 2 commander decks. I think that brings us to the end, Alex, of episode 26 of the Old Man Magic podcast. Officially 6 months worth of weekly podcasts.
Half a year of content here.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you've enjoyed what you've been hearing, please subscribe to Old Man Magic on YouTube. Please give us a like. Please hit that notification bell on YouTube. You can also follow Old Man Magic on Twitter at Old Man Magic. If you don't want to watch us on YouTube, you can catch our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I think that's all I have to say for the day. Anything to add, Alex?
Did the groundhog see its shadow? Is winter going to end? Do we know?
Never.
Well, I hope winter's over soon for everyone. Stay warm, and soon it will be spring.
Okay. Talk to you next week.
Peace.